What's all this? Well, welcome to Steven's store. And the best part about Steven's store? It's all free. Good morning, everybody. It's Steven here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, September the 13th, 2021, and it's vlog number 233, and it's the 551st day of COVID. So let's get right into things. What have I been doing? Well, I've been cleaning up my room. You can already see some of the changes in the background. You'll notice that where my craft stuff used to be back here, that way, is now fabric. And my embroidery machine is sitting on a big table, which is made up of four Alex units and two tabletops. And on the far end of that is my sewing machine, and I have a pressing area now, and I have another area for my secondary machine and for my serger. And over on this side, I now have a 3D print mill, and I'm going to talk more about that a little bit later on because I now have 3 3D printers, and none are operative at the moment. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but this is what Walter and I have been doing for the last week. And I invited over. I booked times. We want to stay safe, although everybody had been double vaxxed that came over, but we did wear our masks. They came over and they shopped my stash. And what I basically did was I took everything off the shelves, out of my drawers, everything, 20 years worth of crafting supplies, laid them all out on tables in my rec room. And it was like a store. But it was a free store. And so at first they were a little shy about taking some of my stuff, but I said, be greedy. And so literally throughout the week, I had different people here, and most of my stuff is gone, and I'm very happy about that. And I'm going to say a little bit more about my feelings about that too on today's segment of what's pissing me off. But I'm really happy that that went the way that it did. We've worked really hard this week to try and get the workshop and the old sewing room all cleaned out and ready for the arrival of the long arm. Now, we don't know yet when we're getting the long arm, but I suspect we're going to be finalizing everything for that this week. It'll take a while before it gets here. It's got to come up from the States and everything like that, but we want to be ready for it because it's a big thing. It's 10 feet long. Some assembly required, we want to get it on. We want to make sure we have the space for it. So that's what we're working on. We are not done yet. It's going to take this week to get everything done, but a bulk of my stuff anyways, what I want to do is done. And after I have finished the vlog today, I'm going to start going through my drawers. One, I need more space. Yes, you would think I'd have lots of space after I cleaned out everything. I thought that too. Well, apparently I don't. But this just forces me to get rid of more things that I really don't need. Like I have about 3 little cabinets full of wires and plugs and electronic equipment that is all obsolete, do not need. So I'm heaving that out, and that's going to give me a lot of space. And then I have a cabinet full of papers, stationery stuff and that's been sitting in there for years, and a lot of it can go as well. We've been donating things to our local charities, to Value Village, as much as we can, and the rest of it, unfortunately, which is a lot of paper really, but not much we can do with that. Paper and containers and things like that have gone to the dump. But we're trying our best to, recycle, reuse, all that kind of thing, so less of it goes out in the dump. But sad to say, we probably have filled 20 garbage bags, large garbage bags, if not more, of crap. Just crap. So anyways, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of this because I have been doing some video of it each day, but I'm just going to show you what stages it's in right now. And this is pretty much what the finished product is going to look like. So I have a little video of that, and I'm going to insert that for you right now. So here it is, my new sewing room. And I'm not quite done yet. I still have some drawers and things to clean out and relocate things, but you can see my central area. I have my embroidery machine, I have my sewing machine, I have my cutting mats. In that far corner, I have a ironing station over on the other opposite corner, my other sewing machine and my serger is there. You'll notice that I've cleaned up the walls, taken a lot of the artwork down, put my pin cushions out, and this is my fabric stash. And there is some fabric in the drawers, but this is the bulk of the big pieces that are here. Now I can find everything very easily with this. And if we go around, you will see I have my printers all lined up here. This is my sort of my desk area for my computer. The Cricut stayed where it was, but I cleaned out this corner. There used to be a TV stand in there with a computer on it. Now it is sort of the electronics corner, central corner, where everything comes there to be distributed out to other devices in the room. And this is my 3D printer mill. And yeah, I have three 3D printers now. So there's a story here to be told, and I'll be telling you that in a few minutes. So it's coming along. All of these drawers need to be cleaned out as well because I need some more space. And there's a lot of electronic equipment in there that is obsolete, so it's got to go. So that's how far I've gotten in a week, and I'm really happy with the result. So as I said, I'm very pleased with the progress we've made so far. My body is a little sore. I was using muscles I have not used in a while. Moving stuff and decluttering is not a young man's job. I have come to the conclusion of I should have hired out. Well, I'm being a bit facetious about that, but then again, maybe I'm not. Okay, so that takes us to the YouTube channel of the week, and it is, what is it called? It's called It's History. And so, kind of like my old craft stuff, it's history too. This week's YouTube channel is one that kind of goes along with the one I showed last week with Tony Robinson. This is called It's History. And this is about history all around the world. So if you're a history buff, you're really going to like it. It says, welcome to It's History in conversation with actor, musician, and writer Indy Neilden. I'm not sure who that is. Anyways, he's the guy who does this. He's Swedish, apparently. And yeah, if you take a look here at all the topics, the burning ghost town, the lost streets and cars of New York City, forgotten tunnels under Chicago, forgotten streetcar tunnels of Chicago, some more of that, abandoned underground concourses of Philadelphia. It looks like it's pretty much about the United States, but if you look down here on some of his shorts as well, he's got things about the Afghan War, drugs in the USA, and tell us more about precious heirlooms. So, you know, there's something here for everybody. He's got a lot of videos, and I find it really fascinating because I do enjoy history. So if you're like me and you'd like to learn about the past, then check out It's History. So you'll find that YouTube channel listed in my show notes below, and you'll also find a link, 3 links again, to my upcoming retreat, only 2 weeks away. There is a link for the FAQ, the details of what the retreat is all about and the procedures and all that kind of thing. And then there's 2 Zoom links. One Zoom link is for the Icebreaker cocktail party that I'm having on the Friday evening, September the 24th, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All are welcome to that. And then the proper retreat starts at 9 a.m. Eastern Time the next day, September the 25th, and there's a link for that as well. So if you haven't already indicated that you're planning to attend, I would appreciate if you just send me a quick email. My email link is in the show notes, just stating that you're planning to attend. Make sure your first and last name is there, and then I can put you on my list. Now, this list is not a commitment. It is just a way for me to get an idea of how many people I may have attending the retreat. And right now we're up to about 40. I can handle 95, as you know. So please just drop me a quickie line, say, yep, I'm coming, and that'll be great. Okay. Other links that are listed in the show notes below are Stephen and Walter Live yesterday. We did a lot of talking about the renovation and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in redos and that kind of stuff, and you haven't seen Stephen and Walter Live, you may want to check that one out. There is a link to the past week's Idiot Quilter, episode 131, called Ripping with Electricity. And we have our latest So Chatty in there, episode 25, where we respond to and answer questions from our viewers. So that's all there for you. So just a week full of entertainment, really. Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off. And I'm not pissed off at this. In fact, I've got to change this segment because um, a lot of things I'm talking about these days are not really things that I am truly pissed off about. May I just call it Steven's rant or thought of the day or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I am not pissed off at this, but I got the question from Walter. How did I feel about giving up all my stuff? I need to clear my throat, getting a frog in it. Just excuse me for a second. Okay, that's better. How do I feel about it? I have absolutely no feelings about it. What I mean by that is I am not married to those things that went out. It's very easy to get obsessed with one's possessions. We all have things that we will never give up. But they are just possessions. Life moves on. And basically, I had so much stuff that I didn't know what I had until I started cleaning it up. I had forgotten about things I bought years ago. I had things that were duplicates because I had forgotten that I had bought it at another time and ended up buying it again. Things I had in packages, as I said, that I had never opened. They sounded like a good idea at the time. I was going to get to that, never got to that. Um, and then, of course, there's just the fact that I was buying things for the sake of buying things. Scrapbook paper was a big love of mine for many, many years. I just loved the look of it. And even after I stopped really doing any kind of serious scrapbooking, which I did for quite a few years, I was still buying scrapbooking paper because I was making journals or mixed media projects. And I thought, well, that would look good there. So that accumulates really fast. Don't know what's going on here. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Anyways, so yeah, I had all that kind of stuff. I think basically I was a craft supply hoarder because that's what it was being to look like. Every now and then I'd clean out a few things, but most of the time I couldn't part with it. I said, well, I'm going to use that someday. I have a project in mind. In fact, one of the things I got rid of and I found was a file folder that had notes in it. I would write down things or put things up on my computer and print them out. Future ideas, I called it, future projects. And there they sat in my file folder and never looked at again. So that went out as well. Yeah, there was a whole lot. So I was merciless in this clean out, but that's because I had a goal. My goal was I had to move the sewing room into this room. And my crafting supplies and my sewing room cannot coexist just because of the sheer volume. I replaced my love of scrapbook paper with now a love for fabric, as you can see behind me. The techniques and things that I wanted to try, I now have a new list of things I want to create or try on my sewing machines and my embroidery machines. So I really didn't stop doing my crafting. I just translated it into a new area, my new love. Will there be a time when I will no longer want to sew and quilt? There could be, but I hate to think about why that would be. That might be because I can't do it anymore. My eyesight is gone. My hands have a lot of arthritis in them, something like that. I'm hoping not, but you never know, right? But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest possibility. Now, when I had the ladies from my art journaling group come over here and raid my stash, basically, they were a little bit apprehensive and shy. First of all, they weren't prepared for the amount of stuff I had. Literally, I looked like a craft store. I had it all. And every day I was putting out more stuff. So a couple of the ladies came back twice. I was keeping them updated on what I had left. I'd send out an email last week. I mean, I really felt like a salesman, but the sale was a great bargain, all free. Um, and so once they got over their apprehension about thinking that, well, you really want to give that away, I said to them, be greedy, be selfish, be all about you, take it. And I was actually helping them pick things out. I'd go, did you see this? Did you see that? And I suggested to them very strongly that they go through the stuff a second time because they missed things. So between that, I got rid of about 96% of my stuff. I only have a few things left, and they're in the other room. And surprisingly, I have a big box of punches left, and I have some wood mounted rubber stamps. That's about it. Some other bits and bobs that I'm going to take to Value Village. Now, I've got one person who's already said they will take the punches off my hands, so that is good. So I'm going to contact them later today again to make sure they want those because I want this stuff out of my house because it's taking up space. And that was the whole point of cleaning up, to get more space. So am I upset that my stuff is all gone? No, I'm not. And here's why. I would be upset if I had just randomly said, I'm boxing this stuff all up and taking it to landfill, because that would be a waste on several levels. The other thing is, I'm very happy that these people, for them, this is something new and they're dying to use it and experiment with it. So, I gave it to people that I knew would use it, for one thing. And also, these things cost a lot of money. I mean, for example, one person, I don't know if she realizes it or not, but she's asked me if she could have my Tim Holtz dies that create his little miniature houses that were all the rage back a few years ago. And I made each one of those houses once, and I still have those houses up on top of my little display on top of my cupboards. I didn't clean that off because I kind of like that up there. And but I wasn't going to make a second one on each one of those. Once I'd done it, it was a one-off for me. Now other people might make multiple ones, but I wasn't interested in that. So there the dies sat. But those dies are expensive. They ran anywhere from, if it was an accessory kind of pack, from about $35 up to about $80 for a die. So they were not cheap. She took them all. I don't know if she realized that in that bag she had with all of those, she has about $500 worth of dies alone. Another person took a lot of my paper. People had gone through, taken handfuls of whatever they wanted. And at one point I said to her, you want the whole box? Because she was, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that. And she says, are you sure? And I said, yes, I want it out of here. Well, one of those boxes had about 30 paper pads in it. And those paper pads run anywhere from $25 to $35 a piece. And they'd never been opened. So there you go. There was probably another $500 worth of stuff there. And that's fine. I'm not complaining about that at all. I was really glad that somebody else was going to get this for nothing and we're going to use it. And that is absolutely great. No problems there whatsoever. Now, someone's going to say to me, yeah, but what if you need something that's there? Well, one, if it's one of the pieces of equipment, I know where it's gone. I can always borrow it. And two, if I need some scrapbook paper or something like that, I'll just buy some. I mean, and not big mass quantities of it. Even if I was still crafting, I would never have gotten through that paper. Even if I stopped not buying anything new forever, I would never have finished off those paper pads at all, or the rest of the stuff. So no, if I need something, I can go out and get it when I need it. But my heart is no longer in scrapbooking or in mixed media, nor in anything on that line, the paper crafts. I mean, yeah, sure, still I have an interest in them and that kind of thing, but this is not what's taking up my time now. It's my sewing. And I haven't been able to sew anything in over a week because of this change over. And I am purposely not allowing myself to get waylaid and start working on some, or get back to work on my Christmas projects and things like that until I am finished doing this cleanup. It has to be done. So yeah, I'm not upset. I'm happy, actually. I'm very, very happy that other people are going to use and love my equipment, that, they didn't have to spend a lot of money to purchase those kind of things because money's tight for some of these people as well. And so yeah, I'm really happy about all of that. Okay, so let's move on to what's next on my list. More coffee. Just checking my notes here. By the way, this setup I have right now is working, but I think I can fine tune it a little bit more. So just bear with me over the next little while until I get things, you know, into more of a routine. Okay, so product review. Nothing. Who's had the time? Um, and I have to say one thing though, unless it's fabric, I'm not buying it, or something to do with sewing. I'm really going to try and curb my impulse buying. I am an impulse buyer. I see something, I like it, I buy it. I'm going to try to curb that. No guarantees. Again, another reason why I need to have some drawers that are empty in here, for future expansion. So nothing new to show you there. Okay, that takes us to the 3D corner. Now I haven't made anything in the last week because basically my 3D printers have been all over the place because I was using the space they were in to pile up things, to sort things out. Now, someone asked me yesterday in Stephen Walter Live if I'd solved my problem with one of my printers. No, I have not. And it's eating me away a little bit. I keep going through my head what could be wrong. For those of you that may not know or remember, that particular printer just decided to die. No power was going into it. I've tried everything. I even bought a new power supply. I installed it. That did not make a difference. The only thing else I can think of, I can try, is that it may be the motherboard. And I may have to break down and buy a new motherboard for this. Now, they're not that expensive. They're about $42 on Amazon. I've looked at videos about how to install them, and I think I can do it. Okay, it is one area. Well, I didn't know how to install a power supply either, but I did that. And when I say power supply, I'm not talking about the bricks, that have the plug running out of them. This is actually internal to the machine. It had to be wired, removed, unwired, removed, and wired again and put in. And that's what kind of ticks me off, that that's not working. But that's a plan for after I get everything else in here done. My other newer printer, it was giving me some grief, but I think it was a filament problem. And yeah, I think it'll work okay. Now I have a third printer. Why do I have a third printer? Well, one of my friends, Carol, she's the owner of Class Act. She's a member of my art journal group, ladies, and she was over here picking up some things too. And she brought her son with her, Richard, who I've known for a long time as well. And I knew that Richard had a 3D printer. And so I was just, sharing 3D printer stories with him as his mother did her shopping. And I had mentioned the fact that I had one that was down, in the power supply. And he says, I've got an Ender 3, which is the brand that I'm using, Corelty Ender 3. I have version 2. He had a version 1 that was sitting at his place doing nothing because he didn't like it. He says it works fine, but what he didn't like was leveling the bed. And leveling the bed is very, very tricky. I've pretty much got that mastered on my other two printers. And he says, you can just have it and use it for parts or whatever you want. Well, I said, well, I'd pay him for it. And he says, no, he wasn't taking any money for it. Basically, he said, my mother's shopping here all for free. And I said, well, that's really nice of you, Richard. But anyways, he brought it over. I have it sitting there. I have turned it on. It comes on. Yay, that's one good thing. But there's some work I have to do with it to get it up to the shape of the other ones and things like that. So I haven't had time to do that. But it's sitting there waiting to go. So that'll be my next major project once I get the sewing room cleaned up. And I can get back into the mode of that. Now, 3 3D printers. Well, I've said if one is good, 2 is better. 3 is great if I get all 3 of them running. So it'll be like a mass production house here. That's why I call it a 3D printing mill. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll keep you abreast of that. Okay, so that takes me to my blasts from the past. Now, I think I mentioned this on Stephen Walter the other day. You've noticed that lately, over the last 4 weeks or so, that I have this segment where I'm showing you videos that I have taken on my last trip to Australia, which was in 2019, just before COVID hit. And you know how much I love Australia. And the reason I'm showing these videos to you is because I'm not doing any crafting right now. I used to save this section on the vlog for showing you a project in progress that I'd be working on, a journal, a mixed media piece, whatever. But now I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. And I have the idiot quilter to show you things for sewing and that kind of thing. But I thought, since, come this Wednesday, it will be 18 months of COVID since the official, when we started getting into lockdowns and everything like that, and we can't go anywhere. And although travel has opened up a little bit, many people, and I'm one as well, do not feel comfortable with the idea of getting on an airplane because, our case numbers are going up again. And you get to a country that you want to see, and it's not going to be the same as it was before pre-COVID. And who knows, you might even get stranded in that country because of an outbreak or something. So I'm not taking the chance. So we're not traveling, obviously. So I have my memories. I have the videos. And I do watch them again. And it's sort of like being there. So that's why I'm putting them up for you, hoping that maybe for you, you're traveling vicariously through my videos as well. And just as an aside note, that's one reason why we justified spending the great amount of money, $22,000, on a long arm, because we would have spent that on a trip. Yes, we would have. First time we went to Australia, we did it as a cruise to New Zealand and down to Australia. And by the time we were done with that cruise, plus everything else we did, that one cost us $30,000. Yeah. When we travel big, okay? Because we love it. And so we don't like to nickel and dime it, because you're on vacation. You should not have to worry about money. So we do, it's not like we've got the money that we can just willy-nilly throw it around, but we plan for those kind of things. And so we're just transferring the money basically we was spent on our next major trip, because we're not going anywhere for a long time, into the long arm. So it's a staycation with the long arm whenever it arrives, in a sense. So anyways, here is another blast from the past, our trip to Australia in 2019. And this one is, we're in a place called, it's the Gold Coast, Noons Ahead. And this was on March the 27th, 2019. So I'm going to put that little clip right here. Okay, so we're all packed up to head on out, and we're going to Noons Ahead today. Weather's not looking really great. I'll show you. It's a little gray. It looks like it has rained at some point.
You got a picture of me picking my nose.
Yeah, probably. So we were going to stop at the Australian Zoo on the way, because it's on the way. And, well, it depends on whether or not it's raining.
We'll map there because it's on the way, and then decide when we get there whether it's worthwhile today or not.
Because it's not a cheap zoo, so you want to go when the weather's nice, because it's like about $60 a person to go to it. That's the zoo where what was his name?
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin, it's his zoo. But anyways, so that's what our plans are today. The Gold Coast, your impressions?
It's nice. It's a really resorty type place to go. It's more if you're really into the beach and stuff like that, because there really isn't that much to do here. So,
if you're a beach person, if you like to surf, if you like to sun, then this place is great for that. We're neither of those kind of people. It was nice to see, but I think we've spent enough time. I wouldn't have spent any more time here than we have already.
No.
I think we've seen what we need to see, and really there wasn't that much
yeah,
to
I
see.
know. We're not really beach people, or Steve's not really beach people. So.
Yeah, I see you out in the beach all the time.
Yeah. So anyway,
whale alert.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a nice area to go if you want to go for a holiday where you're just relaxing and it's warm.
Yeah, if you're that kind of person that just likes to sit around by a pool or on the beach and read a book for a week and that kind of thing, then yeah, it'd be great for that, I'm sure. Food-wise, well, it is a tourist trap. So there's a lot to pick from, sort of. It depends on what you like. It's not cheap.
They seem to have pretty much everything. They even have Indian and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they have, but prices tend to be a little on the high end. So
Of course, again, because it's the kind of place that it is. So, but anyways, it was nice to see it. So we can say that we have seen Gold Coast now. I keep thinking when I hear Gold Coast, I'm thinking like that's an area, not that's the name of the city, kind of a thing. So when I write it, it's like we are on the Gold Coast. No, we're in Gold Coast. They should just call it Gold Coast
I think
City.
it's both a city and an area.
Oh.
So
Okay, but either way, but I'm nitpicking now. Anyways, in a little bit, we're going off on our way to News Ahead. Okay, so we're on the highway now, going towards Brisbane, which is going towards News Ahead, which is our destination. And you can see that the weather's lovely. It's raining. So, it's not supposed to rain when we're on holidays. It never rains when we're on holidays. So I suspect this will dry up in about another half hour. Okay, so welcome to the Sunshine Coast. Something ironic here about that isn't there. So we've decided to put off the Australian Zoo for now because it's raining. And, well, don't fancy getting rained on. And probably the animals aren't hanging out anyways. They're probably undercover. And we'll see about seeing it maybe on the way back to Brisbane or whatever. You know, it's a zoo. If you've seen one zoo, you've pretty much seen them all. Except I wanted to see kangaroos because they're so fluffy. So along here, this does not look unlike driving in Canada. Except that the fir trees that are here are a little different variety. But you can almost swear that this was like a little up northern Ontario. But it's not. A little different scenery along this stretch of the highway. Just thought that it might be kind of interesting to film this part.
yeah, now we've gone from fir trees to more like deciduous, or more like the more standard Australian vegetation.
But no kangaroos.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen any yet.
They're hiding in the bushes. So this is News Ahead, and this is seems to be the central core of this place. It's basically a resort type town. We're grabbing some lunch. Our room isn't quite ready yet, so we're just waiting for that. We'll take a little tour later on. Of course, it's still raining. Quilter's gone up to get some sandwiches and some fries and stuff to eat too as well. It's a pricey zone, although the prices at this place don't seem all that out of whack, but we'll see. And they have some weird birds here too. Don't know what kind of bird that is, but there's several of them around here. Kind of look like a type of turkey, but don't think that's what it is. So this is the beach area, which is just across the street from where we just had lunch. Of course, because it's raining today, not too many people on the beach. We have this long boardwalk that goes along here. And this is sort of a hotel complex, restaurants underneath, rooms above. sure if the sun was out, this would look very nice. Okay, so this is our room here in Nunza. Nuza, whatever. Nuza. Okay, so we've got this sitting area here. This is our balcony, and it's got fancy doors. It's all glass doors that slide all the way across to close it off. And the TV in here. We have a kitchen area right here. Dishwasher.
Too bad it wasn't nicer weather.
Hot plate. Don't think we have. Oh yeah, there's a microwave. Yeah. Full-size fridge. Yes, it would be nice if it wasn't raining. And in here we do have a laundry room as well, which is good. It's fairly large. Now, it does have a separate bedroom. So here we have the sink is here. Ooh, lots of counter space too. Something I always miss in a hotel room. I need a lot of counter space to put my junk. And this is the bedroom. Very cozy. Also has a TV set. A couple of closets. You can look in this one, see. Ooh, we have his and his closets.
I don't have a king bed though.
What is it, a queen?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not a big deal. And then we have, ooh, look, pocket doors. They have pocket doors. And this is the bathroom. Now we have a large shower stall, but there's a jacuzzi tub as well. Now you might be saying, how much are you paying for all this? Actually, this is not cheap. Walter just told me it's $300 a night.
It's $330, but it includes breakfast.
Oh, it's $330, but includes breakfast.
I could have gotten a cheaper room that didn't include breakfast, but I figured that it would be tough to get breakfast around.
Yeah. But anyway, so very nice room. We only have 2 nights here, but so that's probably enough at what it's costing us. But anyways, it's very nice. And that takes us to the events in the past week. Well, of course, there weren't many because it was all happening here in the cleanup. But we did go over and physically visit my mother, and something new there. When we got into the nursing home, they actually swabbed us and gave us a rapid test for COVID. We had to sit in little isolated little partition cubicles away from other people, and they swabbed our nose and did whatever they had to do, and 15 minutes later they had the results, and yes, Walter and I were both negative, so that was good. And then we could go up and see my mother. She was in bed as usual. She has her oxygen on, but she looked better. Now when I say look better, she still looks like crap. Okay, let's face it. But she looked like a little better piece of crap than usual. She had more color in her cheeks. She was a little bit more responsive, a little bit more coherent. I did have trouble hearing her. Her voice was way down here when she was speaking. So I'd have to kind of bend over and put my ear near to her mouth so I could hear her. But she seemed to be with it. I asked her how she was feeling, and she said, well, she felt better. Well, that coming from my mother's mouth is pretty good because that's usually not the answer I get. So that was a good thing. So we chatted with her for a while and everything, and yeah, and off we went our merry way. Well, later in the week, my sister did a FaceTime with my mother, and it was not as positive as it was when I was there. My sister said she seemed to be out of it, not coherent, she looked horrible, blah, blah. I don't know what it is. But every time my sister visits my mother or does a FaceTime with her, it always seems to be very negative. When I go, a lot of the negative stuff my sister tells me, I don't see or I don't hear. Maybe I pick her on a good day, because I do think she's going to have good days and she has bad days. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? But anyways, she's fine. Yes, she's fading, but very slowly. And who knows? I don't know. This may be the new reality with my mother, and there isn't anything I can do about it. I know she's getting good care. They're looking after her well. So, yeah, I just have to take it as it comes. Okay, so that takes me to, I already talked about the sewing room. Um, I've talked about the long arm. The reason it takes a while for the long arm to come and why I don't know when it's going to be delivered is that it's going through a company in the States, a big manufacturer of long arms called APQS. And they have already sent me an email saying that they have the order. And I should get an email this week telling me more about making the arrangements for payment for it. And then they will give me some idea as to when I can probably expect to receive it, and all that, those kind of details. It's a process. I mean, you're talking here a big machine. It has to come across our border, so there's brokerage fees, and apparently this company deals with the most efficient and cheapest broker they can get. We were quoted something like $65 or $70. I don't know if that was American or Canadian. At this point, it doesn't really matter. The shipping is done by a separate company. That's going to probably cost us about $1,000 for this. These machines are heavy, and it's six boxes, 6 big boxes, some assembly required. So it is a process, but we were told that the company, and there's one person that looks after all the shipping, and she makes sure you know what's going on every step of the way. And that's what I was told by our representative here, and I do trust our representative, Tracy at Whirls and Swirls. Actually, you can look up Tracy's YouTube channel if you're interested in long arm quilting, because she has a whole bunch of tutorials on YouTube that are very, very well done. And it's called Whirls and Swirls. Um, and yeah, we trust her completely. She is a great representative of that company. So yeah, I don't think we'll have any worries. I have to decide how I'm going to pay the company. Um, you can delay the payment, but then if you do that, they don't send it to you as quick, right? And that's fine. We're paying it in full, because we don't believe in debt. Um, so yeah, we're gonna pay it in full. It's just, how do we get the money to them? I guess there's two methods. You can put it on a credit card, or you can do an electronic transfer from the bank. Now, I imagine to do an electronic transfer, I'd have to probably go physically into the bank to do that because it's such a large amount of money. Even on the credit card, um, one credit card that I'm going to use, I get points on. So I really want the points because there's a lot of points on this amount of money to be had. Uh, and I just have to clear it with my credit card company because I'll phone them up and say, look, there's going to be this humongous, that's the word I want. Use your words. Humongous amount on my credit card from the States. And this is why, because I don't want that thing going bouncy bouncy on me either. So, yeah. So I'm assuming I'm going to find out about those things this week. And there is a suggested delivery date of September the 23rd. But that's really just a guesstimate on the part of Tracy, because she says it all depends on, their production as well. And we all know that production during COVID has taken a turn for the worst. So we'll go. We're not in a great rush. Yes, we're excited about getting it, but we need the time yet. We're not finished doing the clean out in the workshop area for it, which will now become the long arm room, yet. We're working at it, and we've gotten good headway, but we need a little bit more time, and that's fine and dandy. So that's the update on the long arm and the procedure you go through, and hopefully it runs fairly smoothly. I do have my apprehensions because this is coming from another country. Even though it's just the United States, it's still, it's the border thing and all that kind of deal. But Tracy has assured us that APQS is extremely efficient and has excellent customer service. So we shall see. Okay, and what else? Well, oh yeah, Wally cooks. So, you know that we have container gardening on our deck, and we have a lot of tomatoes. We grew a variety of tomatoes, and so Walter decided to take some of these tomatoes, and for Avante Wednesday, he was going to make his own sauce using those tomatoes. I'm not sure if it worked out all that well. It was tasty and everything, but really what he got was he used his Instapot and had to sieve it all. We don't have a, what do they call it, a mill, a vegetable mill or food mill. That's what they call it. That, you can throw all the raw ingredients in kind of and puree it, and it, gets rid of the seeds and the skins, and you just are left with the pulp or the juice. So he had to do it by hand through a sieve. And I don't think he'll do it again. It was a lot of work for, well, we don't have that many tomatoes, so we're not making this in mass quantities. He just wanted to try it. So anyways, I took a video of his procedure, and I'll put that in here. This week on Wally Cooks, he's doing something with the tomatoes from our garden. What are you doing with these tomatoes, Walter?
Trying to make tomato sauce out of them.
So what did you do with them first? Put them in the Instapot. I see it's out. And so what? Boiled the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And now you're putting it through a sieve, but I guess you didn't peel them before you put them in the...
No.
So that's why you're sieving them. So it's going to be fresh tomato homemade pasta sauce. And what do we got on the stove here? We've got Walter's big meaty balls. Yeah, okay. Put punchline or laugh track in here. But there's his balls. Now, Walter boils his balls.
Well, no, actually, I wanted to do it in tomato sauce, but I started this a little late, so.
Oh, well, I had a very busy day today with Stephen's Stash store, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, you will soon. And I see we have some fresh herbs from our container garden. Mm-hmm. So what do we got here? We've got
basil and oregano
and tarragon.
I think I'm not sure if it's tarragon.
And rosemary. That looks like rosemary.
No, that's not rosemary.
Oh, oregano.
No, there's oregano, and then I'm not sure if this is tarragon or if it's something else.
A weed.
I can't remember if it's tarragon or if it's there's no thyme. It's thyme.
Thyme. Oh, okay, thyme. Do you have time for thyme? So there's some of your. You need a food mill.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not spending $300 on a food mill for 5 tomatoes.
Well, fine. Cheap bugger. And that takes me to what's coming up. Nothing. Well, not true. There is the Idiot Quilter Retreat, which I've already talked about at the beginning of this, September 24th and September 25th. Everything's in the show notes for that. So that's coming up, and I guess I got to get my act together because that's only 2 weeks away, and I do have a few things I need to do in preparation for that. So yeah, I've got my work cut out this week. I'm going to continue on in here, getting things organized, cleaned out, and whatnot. And hopefully by the end of this week, this part will be done. And we can rest. And boy, do we need to rest because as I said before, I've got aches and pains from doing this that I'm not a young man anymore, apparently. So I always say I have the body of a 20-year-old, but I'm abusing it. Yeah. So I got to give it back. Anyways, on that note, I'm going to sign off, get back to work on these things I need to do. I hope you have a great week. There will be an Idiot Quilter out tomorrow. I do not have an interview for this week, but I do believe I have an interview scheduled for this week to do. Better check my notes on that so I don't miss that. So we'll be without an interview this week, and just reminder, I'll interview anybody. So why not volunteer to be interviewed? I'll be nice. Really. And yeah, so have a great week, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.